Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Are you ready? Hey everybody, it's Jeff. So, nice day here in Maine today. It was like 77 degrees and sunny, and really there was no breeze, but you didn't really need it. A little bit humid, but that's because there's probably going to be rain here starting tonight into tomorrow. But we did have, this was a really nice day out, so I went outside a bit and walked around and trying to enjoy the outdoors, you know. Anyway, I guess Trump had some kind of a online meeting with Elon Musk. I think yesterday it was, and people have been talking about that, saying how he sounded weird on during the link up there, you know, and I guess they had a lot of glitches with it, and they were like almost 40 minutes behind schedule when they started it. And you know, people were just kind of baffled that, you know, Trump wasn't really saying anything that was worth hearing. But you know, it's like, yeah, well, he goes by the same old playbook. Whenever he talks, it's always the same list of things, his grievances, you know. But he doesn't really talk about anything that's worth listening to. I mean, when you hear Tim Walz talk, or Kamala Harris talk, or Joe Biden talk, they always got things they want to do. They're trying to tell you what they want to do. Okay, but that ain't Trump. All he does is talk about how bad the country is, and how he thinks that if he doesn't win, then everything's going to go to hell, when actually it's the reverse. You know. But anyway, there was another thing that came out today about a possible hack into Trump's campaign, and possibly Kamala Harris's campaign, by Iran. When I first heard it, I figured it's bullshit, right? Because first it came out from the Trump camp that this happened, and anything that comes out of that side of this campaign is probably going to be a distortion of the facts, or just an outright lie. So I didn't pay it no mind. Then the AP picked it up, and I figured, well, maybe there was a hack. I don't know. But I'm going to read this article here about it, and maybe you can judge for yourself here. This is from the AP by Zeke Miller and Michael Balsamo, entitled, FBI says it is investigating after Trump campaign said sensitive documents were hacked by Iran. The FBI is investigating allegations now, that sensitive documents from Donald Trump's presidential campaign were stolen in a cyber intrusion, as well as attempts to gain access to Vice President Kamala Harris's campaign days after the Trump campaign declared it had been hacked by Iran. The FBI released a brief statement on the Trump matter reading, quote, "We can confirm the FBI is investigating this matter," unquote. The Trump campaign provided no specific evidence of Iran's involvement. But the claim came shortly after Microsoft issued a report detailing foreign agents' attempts to interfere in the U.S. election in 2024. The report cited an instance of an Iranian military intelligence unit in June sending, quote, a spear phishing email to a high-ranking official of a presidential campaign from a compromised email account of a former senior advisor, unquote. Okay. Two people familiar with the matter said the Biden-Harris campaign was also targeted in the suspected Iranian cyber intrusion that is under FBI investigation. The people spoke on the condition of anonymity because they were not authorized to discuss the details of the investigation. And that's it. So it's still an allegation as far as what we're hearing from the media, okay? But here's the thing. Now, I'm just going to throw this out as a theory, okay? This is not fact. This is just a theory. If you wanted to hack somebody, let's say you wanted to hack, if I wanted to hack Smokey's, okay, email account, if she had one, I'm just going to say, if I wanted to hack her account, but I didn't want it to look like I did it, I would probably make it look like I was hacked too. Okay, get somebody else to do it, to hack both Smokey's account and mine. That way, it would take attention off of me as being the one that did it. You see what I'm getting to? Trump right now, he's sinking. He's actually smelling the stink of death right now on his campaign. Desperation. October surprise. Remember that? It's not October yet, but okay, this might be something that's leading up to it, okay? That way he can scream, oh, the whole thing was rigged, right? And here's proof, right? Well, if, we know he has ties to Putin. He likes Putin, right? And Iran and Russia are allies, okay? So, would it be that ridiculous to probably assume or to theorize that maybe somebody, maybe Trump, wanted to hack the Kamala Harris's data, but he didn't want to draw attention to himself because he would be the likely suspect, right? Because it would be from him. So he gets an outsider to do it. And they say, you can hack us as well, so that way it looks like we were both attacked. So Russia, or Putin rather, gets somebody in Iran to do just that. Hack both their accounts. Then he comes out and says, oh, we were attacked. We were hacked. They attacked, okay, and then a couple days later, they find out on the Kamala campaign that, hey, they were attacked. They were hacked, okay? Their computers were compromised and shit like that. Okay, well, it's going to be hard to say that Trump did it if he's out there, he's had himself set up to be hacked. Okay, because you can't accuse them of being a victim of the same crime, right? But he did it, or I'm not going to say he did. I'm just saying, but he could have, engineered it to make it look like somebody else did it when it was all his idea all along. And they would just take whatever data they got from Kamala Harris's and give it to Trump, in some off-the-wall way, so it doesn't have any trail to him, okay? That's what I'm thinking, okay? And the fact that, the FBI is involved in this, obviously there was a hack. If the FBI is involved in it and they're investigating it, they haven't said there was a hack. They said it's an accusation of a hack, all right? But they haven't come out and actually said there was a hack. But let's just say that there was, and they're investigating. Well, then that means there would, it's definite. I mean, they wouldn't get the FBI involved if there wasn't anything going on there. So something's going on, okay? And it's not unexpected. At the same time, it's suspicious, yes, on the surface, because people want to think that either one party or the other is out there doing some shit that they shouldn't be doing, right? Okay, and so it's easy for the MAGA to accuse the Democrats, and then the Democrats to accuse MAGA. All right, but like I said, in my mind, it's a smokescreen to cover up the real crime, which was the MAGA people getting their access to the Kamala campaign's data, or whatever the fuck they're looking for. Okay, let me just say, after all this time, don't you think that the security firewalls to these outfits, you know, would be strict? I mean, because didn't this happen the last time? You know, information got leaked to Putin or something like that. Okay, you know, is this going to happen in every campaign now in our country, every presidential campaign, or are we actually going to institute some stricter fucking firewalls to keep this shit out, you know, to keep these outsiders out? Because outside interference in an election is a crime, you know. Outside interference from another country, you know, is a crime. They're not allowed to do that. That could start international wars right there if it comes out that Iran actually was doing something. Even if Trump organized it and got them to do it, it's still Iran. It's still over there in their country. It's still them, and it's a declaration of war as far as I'm concerned, that they're even trying to seek information, you know, because if they can do that, who else have they been trying to hack? You know, I'm saying, you know, this is ridiculous, but at the same time, like I said, you know, the fact that since Trump is failing miserably right now in his campaign, sinking every day, it seems. Desperation is going to be something that we're going to see a lot of from that side, you know. And I'm still saying that October is going to bring something here to this campaign that's going to be their attempt to derail Kamala Harris's chances of winning. Okay, and I don't know what that's going to be. Okay, I don't know, but I hope they're ready for whatever they think it could be, because I'll tell you, Trump's going to play dirty. He's going to throw sand in their eyes or dirt or whatever. He's going to find something, you know, either on Tim or on Kamala or both. Whatever the hell whatever skeletons they might have in their closet, I hope, you know, they never get found or whatever the hell, because I'll tell you, right now, I wouldn't put anything past MAGA. Even if it wasn't authorized by Trump, anybody in that fucking crowd, as crazy as they already tried to take a pot shot at Trump at a goddamn rally. Okay, what the hell's to stop them from doing the same to the other side? You know, like I said, these people are crazy. They're a cult, you know, and they're getting pissed because, you know, they're not getting what they need from J.D. Vance and Donald Trump. Okay, they got the same old shtick every fucking rally, and it's not helping. It's not edging them out ahead of Kamala. I mean, you know, what the polls that are out there, which are still within the margin of error, by the way, every fucking poll that says, oh, she's pushing ahead, but it's only by like 3 or 4 points. Okay, the fact is, the media is saying that she's edging out ahead. That's pissing him off. Even if it ain't true, it's pissing him off. Okay, he doesn't like to hear that. I mean, so what do you think he's going to do? Well, today people were speculating, you know, that, you know, Trump will probably, if he loses, he'll flee. You know, of course, you got to remember, next month he's got to be sentenced, right? There's a sentencing coming up here in September. You know, how's that going to play out to his campaign? I mean, that's going to put a blow in it right there. You know, well, I mean, if he has to do some jail time there or whatever, I mean, how's that going to fucking impact his campaign? I mean, is that going to be an automatic, you can't run for president now because you're behind bars? Are they actually going to do that? Or are they just going to continue this shenanigan here of pretending that Trump can be president while sitting behind bars? I mean, I feel like, you know, the closer we get to November, the more extreme the fucking things are going to get between now and then. The events that'll happen are going to become more and more extreme. It's going to rock this fucking country like you wouldn't believe. Okay? And even after the election is over, it's still not going to be over, because you're going to have people out there trying to get their revenge, thinking that the Democrats stole the election again if they lose. okay? Or if they don't lose and Trump wins, that the Democrats are going to come out in force and revolt. You know, I mean, there's no good outcome here. No matter, you know, which side wins, the country's going to suffer in some fucking way. All right? Yeah, it's going to suffer for sure under Trump, but it's going to suffer differently under Kamala when the MAGA movement starts coming out and doing whatever the fuck they want to do to get even. You know? So, like I said, the closer we get to November, the more crazy the fucking shit's going to happen. Okay, so here's another article here I want to get to from Business Insider. It's entitled, it's by, John L. Dorman wrote this. And it's entitled, Kamala Harris is going on the offensive on border security. It could keep Arizona blue and cut off Trump's path to victory. Okay. Last Friday, Vice President Kamala Harris and her running mate, Tim Walz, greeted a crowd of over 15,000 supporters in Glendale, Arizona, a suburb of Phoenix. For the Democratic faithful in the Grand Canyon state, the high level of enthusiasm for their party's presidential ticket is indicative of the political transformation that has occurred in state in recent years. It's also a stunning development in state where former President Donald Trump believes that the issue of immigration will not only rally his base, but win over independents who have disapproved of President Biden's policies at the U.S.-Mexico border. For Harris, Biden's decision to step aside as the Democratic nominee lets her tackle the issue on her own terms, independent of the president, and it's a move that could give Harris a critical lift in a state that Trump is relying on to win back the White House. Immigration is a top issue for voters this fall, and it's not just one that animates Republican voters. Over the past 2 years, voters in Democrat heavy cities like New York and Chicago have been an influx of migrants sent to their jurisdiction by Texas GOP Governor Greg Abbott, who has long railed against the Biden administration's policies at the southern border. It's stoked huge divides, even among residents in some of America's most liberal cities. Earlier in Biden's term, record apprehensions at the southern border made immigration one of the his weakest issues. When Biden took office, he pledged to foster a more humane approach regarding asylum seekers, but when Trump launched his 2024 bid, the president's vulnerability on the issue was a major part of his pitch to voters. Harris's ascension as the presidential nominee scrambles this long-standing dynamic. The former California Attorney General is already running ads touting herself as a, quote, border state prosecutor, unquote, who went after drug cartels and put gang members in prison. And she zeroes in on her pledge to tackle human trafficking and the smuggling of fentanyl into the U.S. Another Harris ad highlights the vice president's support for adding additional Border Patrol agents at the southern border. One critical thing that's aiding Harris right now, border crossings have plummeted in recent months. In July, roughly 57,000 immigrants were apprehended at the southern border, the lowest monthly figure of Biden's White House tenure. It's a sharp decline from the 250,000 apprehensions in December of 2023. The Trump campaign has repeatedly criticized Harris over the issue and sought to tie her to Biden. Republicans frequently referred to the vice president as a quote-unquote border czar who didn't secure the border. But it is unclear if that message will resonate. Harris was not officially designated by Biden as a quote-unquote czar, nor was she assigned the task of fully overseeing the southern border. She was, however, placed in charge of addressing the root causes of migration from Central America. Before Biden won Arizona in 2020, it last voted for a Democrat presidential nominee in 1996. Since 1952, those were only 2 instances when the state voted blue at the presidential level, a reflection of its deep Republican roots. Now that conservative lean is no longer the default position, Democrat Mark Kelly and independent Kristen Sinema hold Arizona's U.S. Senate seats. After years of GOP control, Democrat Katie Hobbs wrestled back the governor's office in the 2022 midterms. And while the Arizona legislature remains controlled by Republicans, the party has narrow majorities in both the state house and state senate. Just 2 months ago, it appeared that Trump was on pace to win Arizona and potentially flip Nevada, a Democratic-leaning swing state that last backed the GOP presidential nominee in 2004. And his heavy focus on border security was a big part of his resonance with his base and a slice of voters who had grown disenchanted with Biden on immigration and the economy. But the Cook Political Report recently shifted both Arizona and Nevada, as well as Georgia, from the lean Republican category back to the toss-up column. The movement comes off the strength of Harris's campaign, as she has not only firmed up Democrat base support, but made inroads with independents and undecided voters. As of July, registered independents or voters classified as quote-unquote other make up nearly 34% of Arizona's electorate. Republicans make up 35% of the electorate, while Democrats have a 29% share. While Trump has enduring appeal with the Republican base, he can't win based on those votes alone. Harris's campaign has already begun attacking Trump over his opposition to a bipartisan border security bill that was backed by Biden but largely abandoned by Republicans after the ex-president warned GOP lawmakers to oppose the measure. Trump's position has the potential to move independents who want an immigration solution and believe that Harris might take different approaches than Biden on the issue. For Harris, remaining competitive in Arizona gives her multiple pathways to win in the fall. She is clearly eyeing the state's 11 electoral votes, but she can still win the election without it. However, for Trump, a Harris win in Arizona would be a huge blow in his attempts to win a second term. Biden's 2020 victories in Arizona, Georgia, and Nevada, as well as his wins in Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, effectively cut off Trump's path to victory that year. Should Harris neutralize the border security issue, a feat that seemed unimaginable when Biden was still the presumptive nominee, it'll give her a major opening to win Arizona. So, the border issue. As crazy as it seems, the border issue is really what's going to draw the voters one way or the other. Although I personally don't see the border issue as a major issue in this country, okay, it's only because the right wing has screamed, bitch, holler, moan, bellyache so much about the border issue that it's on the forefront of everybody's head. The fact is, there's not, what's going on down there is not as dire as they're making it out to be. The problems coming in from the border are not indicative of people from Central America or Mexico, okay? This is Americans going over the border to their side, doing stuff and coming back bringing fentanyl and guns and all kinds of shit, okay? It's already Americans that are doing it. Why would people who are trying to immigrate into this country start off by breaking the law and then ending up getting caught and thrown back down here? It's stupid. They're not going to do that, okay? But that's what the right wing wants. They want you to think that that's what it is, okay? And as a result, these border states down there are all ensconced in the border issue, okay? Which is ridiculous. When we got the possibility of an abortion ban in like different states, women's rights being denied, the border issue takes precedent, for some of these people, okay? Crazy, yeah, very crazy. And, hopefully the voters will smarten up between now and November and understand, that this whole election is not about the fucking border. It's about a plethora of things, and the border is one of those things, but it's not the only thing. And if you're a single issue voter, you're not really listening to the campaigns on either side, okay? People, when you vote for a president, it's got to be, you have to decide on a plethora of issues that are important, okay? Not just your personal thing, all right? Because when you do that, you're leaving out a lot of things that could hurt you that you haven't decided on. And you need to think about that in the bigger spectrum, you know. So let's go to a commercial break. We'll be right back here.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me!
This is me.
I'm Alex Curtis. I'm a lobsterman in Maine, and this is me.
I'm Ruth McLaughlin, and this is me.
I'm Eric Hopkins. I'm an artist, and this is me.
This
is me.
Me.
This is me.
This is me.
This is me.
At the end of the journey, the main thing is you. Original.
No more excuses. Joe's out, Kamala's in, Trump's the threat. The future of America hangs in the balance. On one side, a movement to end democracy, to rip away the rights of women, deport hundreds of thousands of American citizens, have Project 2025 shoved down your throat while it destroys your freedom, and to turn back the clock on civil rights, and watch Trump sell off the country to the highest bidder, and surrender to dictators like Putin and Kim. On the other side, a patriotic pro-American coalition, Republicans, Democrats, and independents standing together. We don't agree on everything, but we all agree on one big thing. Donald Trump will destroy this nation. With us by her side, Kamala Harris will stop him. Those are the stakes. This is the fight. Join us.
Old, weak,
Many don't feel he is fit.
sick, tired,
too old to serve.
stammering, slurring,
He was ranting and raving.
slipping, forgetting,
And the guy just kept getting confused.
slow.
Panic has certainly set in.
You know which politician we're talking about, right? Oh, you thought it was about Joe Biden?
Venezuela, though it's unbelievable.
Is he all right?
Let's think about some more words. Liar,
I have absolutely no idea who this woman is.
criminal, rapist,
I'm here because Donald Trump raped me.
scammer,
I can say very clearly President Trump is a liar.
con man, gross, vain,
I don't care about you, I just want your vote.
cruel,
You are a rude, terrible person.
disgusting, creep. You know exactly who we're talking about,
You won't have to vote anymore.
don't you?
Today, not tomorrow, not next week. Today is the day I hope you will donate to support our movement, because the truth is, time is running out. We're in the final lap of this race, and Election Day will be here before you and I know it. So I need you to act now so your donation can have the greatest impact. The stakes in this election could not be higher, and we cannot throw up our hands when we must roll up our sleeves. Let's get to work.
The Olympics give us examples of unparalleled athleticism, feats of human flexibility that defy imagination. But there's one man whose superhuman flexibility is unparalleled. That man is J.D. Vance. Just watch as J.D. Vance flips on his most passionately held beliefs.
I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him. I think that he's noxious and is leading the white working class to a very dark place.
Tonight, we celebrate he is our once and future President of the United States of America.
Unbelievable! Do you believe in miracles? Okay, here we see J.D. Vance trying the technically complex and difficult move of dodging his comments about women.
We're effectively run in this country by a bunch of childless cat ladies. As a parent, you should have more power. You should have more of an ability to speak your voice in our democratic republic than people who don't have kids. Of course, for a whole host of reasons, it's not going to work out for some people. We should pray for those people.
Oh, incredible! Just incredible! Can you believe he does all this from the comfort of his couch? Wow! Just wow! J.D. Vance, the undisputed champion of intellectual dishonesty.
Be a part of the entertainment value of a lifetime.
I loved it.
It was the best performance I've seen in a lifetime.
I loved the show. I liked it very much. He's a very entertaining man. It's well worth the money.
Now appearing in Charlottetown, coming to Halifax November 6th to the 18th, and St. John November 20th through the 26th.
Everybody. Okay, so another article here that should give MAGA some pause if they had a brain. I guess if it would, but this is from the Star Tribune, written by Michael Broadcorb, and it's entitled "My Time for Choosing. I'm a Republican and I'm endorsing Harris and Walz." Okay, let's see. 60 years ago, near the end of the 1964 presidential election, Ronald Reagan gave a speech supporting Republican candidate Barry Goldwater that launched Reagan's political career and paved the way to him becoming the 40th president of the United States 16 years later. In his famous, quote, "A time for choosing," unquote speech, Reagan noted that he had spent most of his life as a Democrat, but he had recently, quote, "seen fit to follow another course," unquote, as he believed, quote, "the issues confronting us cross party lines," unquote. Quote, "You and I are told increasingly we have to choose between a left or right," unquote, he said. Quote, "Well, I'd like to suggest there is no such thing as a left or right. There's only an up or down. Man's old age dream, the ultimate in individual freedom consistent with law and order, or down to the ant-heap of totalitarianism," unquote. I find great comfort in Reagan's words, which are strikingly relevant today. In this election, there is no such thing as a left or a right. There is only an up or down. I turned 50 years old last year, and I am choosing man's old age dream. As a Republican, I choose to proudly support Kamala Harris for president and Tim Walz for vice president. In 6 straight presidential elections from 1992 until 2002, I voted for every Republican presidential candidate. I was also not just an average voter, but an active participant in the political process. I worked on Republican campaigns and for the Republican Party. I was a delegate to the Republican National Convention in 2008 and later served as the deputy chair of the Republican Party of Minnesota from 2009 to 2011. However, when Donald Trump became the face of the Republican Party, I found myself unable to support him. I did not vote for Trump in 16 or 20. Earlier this year, in the primary, I voted for Nikki Haley, the former South Carolina governor and United Nations ambassador. But I watched with frustration as Trump easily won the nomination of the Republican Party. I expected that Trump directing a mob to engage in a violent insurrection at the U.S. Capitol would prevent him from becoming the Republican nominee for president in 2024. I was wrong. Like many American voters, I was disappointed with the 2 final presidential candidates offered by Democrats and Republicans until last month. The hope and optimism offered by Harris and Walz have led me to publicly support a presidential candidate for the first time in 16 years. I have voted for Republican candidates for various offices more than 80% of the time. My overwhelming support of Republican candidates through the years should make me an ally of my fellow Republicans today. Reagan also said, quote, "The person who agrees with you 80% of the time is a friend and an ally, not a 20% traitor," unquote. However, I know my loyalty to the Republican Party will be questioned because of my decision to support Harris and Walz. I will likely be labeled a traitor or a rhino, a Republican in name only. In the face of this criticism, I urge my fellow Republicans to consider this. Supporting Harris and Walz is not about abandoning the Republican Party. It is about standing up for the principles the party once represented, principles that I believe will be at risk if Trump returns to the White House. I know that many Republicans are conflicted about Trump. They privately admit they do not support him, yet they feel trapped by the party's cult of personality around Trump. To them, I say, you have a choice. You do not have to vote for Trump simply because he is the Republican candidate. You can support a candidate who you believe will better serve the country, even if that candidate comes from the other side of the political aisle. This election can also be your time for choosing, as it is not just about rejecting Trump and J.D. Vance. It is about embracing a vision of leadership essential for this country's future. Harris is qualified, capable, and committed to the country's best interests. While I may disagree with her on many policy issues, I do not doubt her love for this country or her dedication to its institutions. I watched Walz go from congressman to governor, and I have come to respect him. He embodies a joyful politics that serves as a welcome reprieve from the divisiveness that has become so prevalent in our political discourse. It is in Walz's political DNA to unite people, and he is the right person to serve alongside Harris. This election is about reaffirming that character still matters in our politics. It is about defending the values that first drew me to the Republican Party and ensuring that those values, such as defending the Constitution instead of suspending it, have a place in our country's future. On November 5th, 1984, Reagan addressed the nation the night before the presidential election. He said, quote, "This election offers us the clearest choice in many years. Whether we go forward together with courage, confidence, and common sense, making America strong again, or turn back to policies that weakened our economy, diminished our leadership in the world, and reversed Americans' long-revered tradition of progress," unquote. 40 years later, I am making the clearest choice I've had in any election. I too choose to go forward together with courage, confidence, and common sense. This was written by Michael Broadcorb, and he's the former deputy chair of the Republican Party of Minnesota, and he lives in Eagan. So there are Republicans out there, people, that really have, had it up to here with Trump. Okay? Some Republicans knew him for what he was early on. Some found out after. Okay? But the fact is that the energy that Trump had in his campaign the first time for president isn't there. Okay? The crowd sizes at his rallies are smaller. Okay? The people listening to him are not really that engaged with what he's saying because it's repetitive. It has like a laundry list of things that he says at every fucking rally that it doesn't, it's grievances. But he doesn't promote any policies. He doesn't tell people, anything hopeful that, he'll do if he becomes president. He doesn't do any of that. Okay, it's the most negative campaign, I think, in American history, coming from the right. And how MAGA can still cling to this fucker, and, drive around with their flags and on their bumper stickers and everything. How these people can do that after all the shit that Trump has done to this country is something that we'll be studying for decades, for generations to come. I really believe, just as we are about how Germany ended up in the hands of Nazis, how we still try to debate and understand why that even happened, we're going to be doing the same thing about this period in American history. Is why the fuck did these people not see it? What the hell was blinding them to the truth? And it's going to take psychologists, I think, and politicians, experts, are going to have to really look at this under a microscope, because if we don't learn from this point in history here what's going on that created this mess, we're going to repeat it all over again. And we got to learn. We got to record these things. We got to fucking talk to these nuts. Even as difficult as it may seem, we have to hear them. We got to understand, what the hell are you thinking? What do you see in this man? Okay? And you know, and I still believe that if Trump loses, he will fade away from MAGA's mind. They will be looking for somebody else, okay? Because I think they will just throw him to the trash. And they won't even admit that they were wrong to support him in the first place. But I think they will just simply say goodbye. We're still MAGA, but we're going to back somebody else. That could be Ron DeSantis. That could be anybody. Okay, but they're going to find some other person and they're going to call him their Jesus. Okay, but Trump ain't doing it for them. You know, like I said, the energy isn't there, which means they're not really that excited about Trump running right now. Okay, he's making a lot of... Did you see the other day, this jet that he flew in on was a jet that used to belong by Jeffrey Epstein, but he had it repainted and it says Trump on it. It was one of Jeffrey Epstein's airplane. What the fuck is he doing flying around with that son of a bitch's aircraft? You know? I mean, everybody was like, Jesus. I mean, you don't... I mean, his name is going to be continually linked to Jeffrey Epstein. That's something he doesn't want to have following him around the rest, you know, for however long he's got left to live, okay? But him going to and getting... I don't know how he ended up with that plane. He probably was inherited that thing or he bought it. But the fact that he got it, and he's flying around with it, it's like, that is so weird. I mean, it goes right back to what we call that part, the MAGA movement is a weird campaign. It's weird in so many levels. I mean, Wall's got it right, and so did Harris. I mean, they are just fucking weird. But it looks bad to everybody else that has some kind of a moral compass when they see him. I mean, it's like, you know, if Ted Bundy, you know, somebody bought his fucking Beetle and started driving around with Ted Bundy's fucking Volkswagen Beetle, you know, that's the same goddamn thing. Who knows what went on in that fucking airplane, you know, since Epstein was so much into this human trafficking and taking underage girls and doing what God knows what to them, okay? And Trump is flying around in that airplane. I mean, Jesus Christ. You know, I'm sorry, but the guy, he doesn't deserve to even come within 5,000 yards of the White House, okay? The shit that's in that man's closet, I tell you right now, is just begun to open up. And I'm telling you right now, and I'm just gonna, I'm not saying there's any proof yet to it, but I'm saying my suspicions are that Trump was much more into what Epstein was doing with those girls than anyone wants to really believe, okay? This guy, I mean, he said a lot of weird things, you know, like talking about wanting to date his daughter and all this shit. I mean, and he says it publicly because, you know, to him it's not nothing, it's nothing, means nothing to him, which means the worst things he keeps to himself are really bad. If he feels comfortable telling people he wants to screw his daughter or that he grabs women by the crotch, okay, just imagine the things he ain't saying. Which brings us to Jeffrey Epstein, because they were buddies. Okay? What's he not telling us about that? And, you know, they ain't done investigating Epstein's crap, okay? What's her name there? The one that's in jail right now there? I can't remember her fucking name. His secretary or assistant. She's still, you know, she's still sitting on a pile of fucking crap that hasn't been wiped off her ass yet. Okay? Everybody knows that. But she's keeping her mouth shut. But, you know, names are coming out from the investigation that the FBI's doing on this guy, from phone calls and stuff like that, and Trump's name keeps coming up over and over again. Okay, and that should make MAGA really question why they seem to, you know, if they're party of family values, he's not the guy that you want as a family value, any more than Lauren Boebert is someone you want as a family value candidate. Okay, these people, they should be running as fast as they fucking can away from. You see what I'm saying? They're just not what MAGA claims they want. Okay, which means MAGA isn't really about family values. They're all about the fucking power, of trying to attain power and being ready, stand back and stand by to do Trump's bidding once he becomes president again. That's what they are about. Okay, These fucking idiots, you know. Some of them, Christ, in their 70s, and they think they can still, you know, it's sick, you know, how these people think, but that's what they're doing. And like I said, the idea that they can ignore all these things that Trump says and does, okay, and just excuse it because they have faith. You know, you see what faith is, you know, I mean, faith, there's good faith and then there's bad faith, okay? Jim Jones had faith. People had faith in him. Look what that led him. That's bad faith right there, okay? It's all about, you know, are you going to believe what they say, or are you going to judge the person by their actions, by what they do, not what they say? Because it's when they're not in your face, that's when you will find out what these people are like, okay? That's when you want to know them. When they ain't standing up in front of you on a stage telling you how to live your life and all that, okay, that's not who they really are. Who they really are is when they're not standing on that stage and yelling and hollering, okay, and they're living their day-to-day lives. That's the time to know these people, okay? But that's something, that's a piece of advice that has been handed down from one generation to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, which means there's always been people out there with a grift. There's always people out there trying to seduce you into doing things for them that'll benefit them but get you in trouble. That's never going to change. Throughout history, there's been all kinds of people that done shit like that. And some of them have done it so bad they created wars as a result. Okay? Trump is one of those kind of fucking people. He was a bad businessman. Okay? But because of that, all right, people didn't really care much about his business shenanigans. They didn't really care about, you know, what did he do to lose a casino? You know, when, you know, a casino, you run it so the house always wins, right? But in his case, he lost. You know, so obviously there was a lot of things going on with casinos that wasn't casino oriented, like money laundering or something like that. Okay, but here the thing is that this guy had a shady background. He was the last guy you'd ever want to look at to say, oh, we ought to pick him to run for president. No. He lies, he cheated, he didn't pay his taxes. I mean, he was always investigated. I mean, and yet that's the guy. They couldn't think of anybody else. It was him. You know? I don't know, people. I feel like if we sneak out a victory here with Kamala Harris, okay, we probably won't win the Senate. I don't know how we're going to do with the House, Congress. You know, Kamala could be stepping into the same kind of boat that Biden's been sailing around in, where, you know, she's going to be fighting with the right every fucking day as president. Okay, because if the MAGA can't get the presidency, they're going to go for the other parts of the government. Which means we're not going to be able to fix the Supreme Court, because you got to have 60. You have to have 60 senators, okay, or at least 58 or 59, because you could probably turn some Republicans. But you got to have 60 votes in order to do something with the Supreme Court. And if we can't get anywhere near that, you know, we're still going to have a lopsided justice system in the Supreme Court. You know. So I feel like, you know, the election really, I mean, the Democrats are going to have to win by a landslide, really, in a lot of different areas. MAGA will put up a hell of a fight, but, I mean, Democrats, they're going to have to come out in force, in huge numbers, not numbers never seen before, okay? Everybody's got to vote. And right now, a lot of young people now are at voting age now that weren't before. Okay, so we have a new bunch of people voting for the first time in this election, which is good, because I think a lot of those people will be voting Democrat. So that means Democrats will get more votes there. And I think that the women by and large are going to go Democrat, because they don't want to see a day of abortion being banned. Okay, there's going to be some women that are going to do the stupid thing and vote for Trump. But most of the women aren't going to do that, okay? I don't think they're going to do that. they're going to want to see, you know, a roadblock put up so that way it can't happen. So you know, we got that. And I feel like, you know, if Kamala wins, it's got to be a big win, okay? That way she can hit the ground running and start getting some things changed before, you know, another election comes up and we lose seats in the Senate, or the, you know what I'm saying? We got to give her that window to be able to do anything, okay? So like I said, this is an important election, and it's gonna need us all. All of us are gonna have to vote, and it's not fun and games this time. This is serious. Trump is doing fun and games, but it's bringing him down. We don't want to follow in his footsteps and do the same thing to the country. We want to keep this train going forward and leave him in the fucking dust, because he's just poison. He's poisoned this country in ways we don't even understand yet. Okay, we don't need any more of his poison, and we need to get out of this thing, this rut we've been stuck in, you know, with Trump bitching about this and all in the news about that. I mean, I am sick and tired of fucking Trump in the fucking news all the time. It's got to stop. Okay, it's got to stop. It's driving the whole country crazy, because we can't talk about things that are really important to talk about and get things done, because Trump and MAGA, you know, and the fucking idiots in Congress, you know. We have to get these people the fuck out, all right, so this country can start chugging along forward as it's supposed to. You know, we can't stay stagnant while the rest of the world surpasses us, all right? We got to keep going forward. So anyway, that's it for today, and I hope everybody has a great rest of the week. Subscribe, comment, and share. Keep your ears open for health issues, and treat each other nice out there, and have a good rest of the summer. I'll talk to you later. Take care. Bye-bye.